Life as a military family, it's kind of like learning how to drive a car. You know, you have to take it slow at first until you learn the rules of the road, and then you start to get the hang of it and you're cruising along the highway. And then one day you try to merge and there's a big old work-related separation in the other lane. And that's when you realize it is like learning how to drive, except you're driving a go-kart at the amusement park. But with a few helpful skills and some tips along the way, we'll have you cruising down that highway. No problem at all. Okay, here we go. I'm driving. A work-related separation for a military member and their family can mean anything from an imposed restriction, going to the field, going on courses, or an overseas deployment. Keeping all those scenarios in mind, to make things simpler, we're going to refer to it throughout this video as deployment. Now, not every deployment is the same, and not every reaction to a deployment is the same. Some are high risk, come up suddenly. Some are for months. Some are for a few weeks. Whether you've never done it or even if you've done it half a dozen times, every deployment is different. In this video, we're going to look at the emotional cycle of deployment and reunion. The cycle is a 7-stage transition process based on the common reactions of those around the military member. Partners, family, children, parents, friends, we're talking to you. Right now, we'll focus on the elements of deployment. We'll meet some military families, hear their stories, and poke a little fun along the way. First though, let's take a look at some of the things outside this cycle that may influence how you experience this deployment. How are you as an individual? Are you shy, outgoing? What's your ability to be resilient right now? Do you have a health concern that's stressful? How's your work-life balance? What has your life experience been with previous deployments or other life events? How are you within your community, your home, family, friends, your network of support? Do you enjoy your work? Are your colleagues supportive? Are you involved in recreational activities like volunteering, keeping fit, or going to movies? Finally, an important factor in the experience of the deployment is the ability to connect with the loved one during the deployment. Your hopes and concerns about keeping in touch, worries that you may have about the nature of the current deployment. You think you may be fine, and perhaps you will be, but don't forget to take a look at how you can take care of yourself during the deployment, how your community can support you, and how you can stay connected to your loved one. Remember to be patient with yourself, value the resources that you already have, and always keep in mind what works for you. Okay, wait. Coaster?
Coaster.
I think coaster.
Yeah,
Coaster? You did the coaster the second time really well.
yeah.
You were awesome on the coaster that time. All right, so we know you have a lot of oranges in the air between home, kids, and work. Uh-huh. And then your loved one comes home and announces they're leaving. That's like hearing, hey honey, I fed the kids tacos, ice cream, and 5 sticks of cotton candy each, and now it's your turn to take them on the tilt-a-whirl. Great.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie Thompson, and I've been married to Dave Thompson for 15 years, and he's in the military, and apparently so am I.
Matt would go just after the school had finished, and then he'd come back right before Christmas. It seemed to be perfect time for the kids in terms of disruption, that we'd be able to go through some of the phases before their school would be messed up. Except that we were delayed for so long that he didn't end up leaving until the end of September. So to be on 1 week's notice to depart, he couldn't plan, he couldn't do anything. So it was just like that perpetual waiting, and we'd get frustrated with each other and short temper. And of course this would go into the kids, and it was just to be walking on eggshells the whole time because you couldn't get ready to go.
For this deployment, we were very fortunate. He found out 6 weeks before he was going. So we didn't have a lot of lead-up time, which was fabulous. It makes it a lot easier because with having 2 small children, they don't have a long time to think about it before he goes.
It was 3 weeks. It was pretty quick.
Yeah, it was.
That's
It
all
was
the
very
warning we
fast.
got, yes. Pack your bags, you're leaving. And of course, we got married.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Right. We weren't married then. We were together and we built this beautiful house and we'd planned on getting married and we just finished building this house and we found out he was leaving for a year. And although we were comfortable as a couple, we just needed to make it permanent. So we decided, let's get married. So we got married and then 2 days later he left for a year.
That was
sucked.
fun.
Yeah. For me, it was almost a little bit selfish, like this isn't fair, but you know, this is the life of, I knew this my whole life. My dad, my brothers, that whole military history. So it wasn't new, but when it happens to you, you suddenly almost get selfish. Like this is so unfair. We just got married, we had this new home and he's gone for a year. So once I got over that and sucked it up, so to speak, yeah, I got into a routine. The days would pass, and I really did keep a calendar on my fridge, and I did the black X, I really did. I just found that helped me, the 24 hours, but it wasn't a negative thing for me. That just helped me. I made it today. I made it today. I made it today. So it was a good thing. Routine.
It can be very difficult to accept the military member is going to leave. There can be a lot of tension between you and the member and the people left at home. Arguments and bickering that are out of the ordinary can actually serve a practical purpose, though. It gives you the emotional distance to prepare for living apart. You may also feel restless, sad, excited, with fluctuations in your energy level or mood. Start by allowing yourself to feel and express your full range of emotions. Get everyone involved in preparing for the deployment and encourage them to share their feelings. Another great coping technique is to try and see the deployment as an opportunity for growth. Maybe it's a chance to build a new support network or strengthen one. Always give assurances of your love and commitment. Have a checklist filled out so you're prepared and include plans for an unexpected family crisis or emergencies. The military member should try to share all they can about the deployment and encourage you to ask questions for your own peace of mind.
Please proceed to the front seat of the Roller Coaster 5000.
So, they're going away. No problem. Piece of cake, right? Well, sometimes deployments can feel like you're getting on a roller coaster. There are going to be some ups, some downs, and sometimes you won't even know what's around the next corner. Did I mention I have a fear of sudden drops and fast turning? Detachment and withdrawal generally occurs in the final days before departure. Some people feel as if they should cherish those last few days together, but could also distance themselves or pull away emotionally.
Well, Matt and I talked a lot about what we wanted to do before he actually left, and MFRC was great because they told us a little bit about what to expect, and our friends had told us what to expect, like get on each other's nerves, you fight a lot. So we made a conscious decision, conscious effort not to fight. And that, I thought, turned out really well. Actually, some of our best memories are from the few days right before he left, because we went out for dinner, we celebrated Will's birthday, we went to the movies, and we took lots of pictures. We took the family Christmas photo, and it was, loved it. It was great.
I'd say for me, I've already withdrawn. I'm already doing my own thing, and I've already got my own plans, and I'm already looking at the day after he's leaving. He's looking at, trying to get as much family time as possible for the next 3 days and wanting to spend every waking minute with us, which divides a conflict between us. And it definitely changes the older the kids get, because when they were younger, they didn't understand that he was leaving, and it was just another day to play. Whereas now that our daughter's older, she sees it as, this is definitely me and Daddy time, and I got to take it for all it's worth. So he knows what to expect of me now. He knows that about a week before he leaves, that I've sort of shut out and doing my own thing, and he takes that as a positive thing. He knows that I'm ready then for him to leave, and that it just gives him more time to spend with the kids on his own. So ones where we've had more warning, you spend a lot of time sort of doing the initial getting your thought process around, what's he going to miss and that, and then you're almost there, like you finish the process and think, okay, you can leave now, but he still had 3 or 4 months to stay, which makes it more difficult because you're already in the mindset of he's gone, and why are you still here? Why do I need to do things for you still?
You can feel fatigue. Decisions can be harder to make. Couples may feel unsure about sexual intimacy. You may think, if you have to go, then go. And the military member could be thinking, let's get on with it. You may also have feelings like impatience and hopelessness mixed with the anticipation and restlessness. Accept your feelings as normal reactions to a challenging situation. Communicate as openly and honestly as possible. Try to be patient, not only with yourself, but with everyone around you. For the military member, it's natural to be excited about the assignment, just like your partner may be excited about their new freedoms, like not sharing the car. Take good care of yourself by eating well, getting lots of sleep, exercising, and participating in hobbies and social activities. Try to ignore rumors or media reports and aim to rely only on official sources of information. Here's our first hot button topic. These are things that come up throughout the deployment reunion cycle, or things that you're thinking about but just don't want to say out loud. Misinformation or rumors can make the deployment very difficult. Here are some tips to help stay out of the rumor mill. Ask yourself if you heard the information from a reliable source. Count on the direct information from your local family resource center or the rear party, unit party contact that you have for the current deployment. And try to encourage the military member to let you know if there's going to be a communication blackout period for operational reasons, so you don't get worried over a missed call. So the big day's arrived. Whoa! And they're finally on their way. Feeling a little out of sorts? Really? I can't imagine why! What's your favorite so far?
The go-karts.
Cards. The actual deployment, no matter how prepared you think you are, can come as a shock.
As soon as he left, as soon as we said goodbye to him at the airport, it was like I had a feeling of being in mourning. And he called once he got to the midway point, which was Frankfurt, and then he called again once he got to Sudan. And then the next day he called, and it's like, oh, okay, that's not bad. It felt just like he was being on course, and it was really easy. And then life just kind of kicked into autopilot.
And it was also difficult when you're sort of on your own and you're as a couple, you're relying on that other person for a lot of the things that you probably don't talk to your other friends about. And then it was difficult when you found a military couple that had sort of the same experiences, but they wanted to tell you how to fix it all the time. And that was always, I just really want someone to listen and not really give me all the solutions. I would certainly say if it's a first deployment especially, you try and make use of your local MFRC for at least the first portion of the deployment, because then it puts you in contact with other people that are in a similar situation. Trying to do too much while they're away is probably my biggest suggestion. Christmas, he was gone this time. It occurred to me initially that I would have family come to us, and then I thought, that's silly, because that means I'm doing all the work. So we went to family. And it was good too, because now the kids don't have any memories of Dad not being at home for Christmas. And they did, new traditions at Gran and Granddad's house for that Christmas.
I offloaded a ton of stuff that I didn't really want to do, and that helped a lot. Clearing our schedules of any extra unnecessary activities was such a relief. And also scheduling things during the week so that we had our weekends free made a big difference too. The whole deployment was a real opportunity for growth. And there were some things that I wanted to change with myself, and there were some things that I wanted to change with the kids. And not having another parent there that I had to run everything through gave me some freedom to just run with it. And it was really liberating. I quite like it.
Always look at it from the point of view of, you can withstand just about anything for 6 months, and look to the end of it. Keep your eyes on the prize, so to speak, and realize that, it's going to end. You're going to come home, and life can get back to normal as soon as possible.
And be prepared for really good days and really crappy days, from both perspectives. Because I know if I called him and I had a rough day and I just vent, and the baby's sick, and if this happened at work, and the babysitter quit, he hears all that, and then 20 minutes later I'm feeling pretty good, but he's sitting there for another day or two with the weight of the world on his shoulders because I just dished all this crap out, and he doesn't really know that you're actually feeling a lot better after you got that off your chest, and it's being dealt with,
Mom, can we go on the rides now?
Of course. Just make sure you stay with your dad. He's right there, okay?
Dad!
You're in a process of adjusting to a big change, getting used to what's different and what's new. That initial sense of relief you may have can be followed by feelings of guilt, aimlessness, or disorganization. You might withdraw from friends and neighbors or feel overwhelmed with things like having total responsibility for family affairs. The military member may be having feelings of loneliness and frustration. If you get caught in a stage 3 rut, it could cause problems throughout the deployment, so keeping your momentum is important to coping. Help maintain that emotional bond by keeping in touch about everyday events. Maybe you'll aim to end all your phone calls or emails on a positive note. Reassure each other. Maintain your balance between the demands on you and the resources you have to meet those demands. Get help when you need it and learn to say no when you must. If you're feeling confident, share that. Make sure you keep up that healthy self-care practice that you had established before the departure. Try to participate in social groups, whether formal or informal, and remember to always try and keep your perspective about the emotions you're feeling. When you've experienced multiple deployments, it can be harder to go through yet another one. You need to find help before you get into the middle of this. Short-term notice is also an issue. Knowing this might help. The military member goes through training for deployments, so maybe you can think of each deployment as your training. You build up your skills and your strengths and look at this as an opportunity to put these into action. What did you do the last time that worked well for you, and how can you put it into place now? Having a positive attitude about your strengths and abilities goes a long way towards dealing with short notice or multiple deployment situations. All right, you guys, are you ready? It's my favorite ride. House of Mirrors. At some point, you may realize things are okay. You might feel more comfortable with new roles and responsibilities. This can lead to increased self-confidence with each successful experience.
But for 3 weeks, my sister moved in with us, and that was great because the bathroom got painted, and she introduced interesting things with the kids in terms of helping them with their morning routines that made a really positive difference, and to connect with her in a different way that we haven't been able to before, because Matt and I don't have really our immediate family close by, and it was good to have somebody there.
The majority of my life was centered around the kids. I really had to make a conscious effort to do something for myself. There's a women's group on base, and I had to, plan months in advance that I would attend each of these meetings and have a babysitter already ready, and then I didn't have an excuse that I couldn't go because I was too tired or whatever. But I found that, even that couple of hours every couple of weeks, I felt rejuvenated again, and a bit of adult conversation goes a long way.
What I remember more is being awakened every morning at 3 a.m. by our fax machine, because there was no email back in these days, and phoning back and forth from Egypt to Canada at that time wasn't really very reliable. So Dan would send me love letters every day, the whole time he was gone, on the fax. And they always came at about 3 o'clock in the morning because of the time change. So I remember anticipating that because it was our moment together. And I would get up, so I got in the habit the whole time he was gone of actually, I would wake up even before it came in. And then you'd hear that little, you know, that sound, bee-doo, and I'd run downstairs, I'd have a letter. So it was, that part was kind of silly, romantic, but that was our way of staying in touch with each other. And I still have all those letters, by the way.
Well, I talked to him more when he was away than when he was in the same house. Really, I would sit down and talk to him face to face for more than 45 minutes. And I don't know, if you really think about face to face time, how often do you do that?
I didn't worry about him at all. And I didn't really listen to the news. I put my head in the sand, and until somebody in uniform knocked on my door, I didn't worry.
I just didn't want to dwell on what if he doesn't come back. That puts you in a completely different mindset, and I just didn't want to go there. I mean, there's a chance he could not come back from going to the store to get milk too. That's life, so you can't focus so much on that.
You need to have something for yourself, whether it be work or volunteer activities or a goal, and you have to be happy in it, you know, because I think if you're, and surround yourself with happy people. That's very important, because if everybody knows those people who's, whoa, I hate it here, I just want to leave, it's always better over there. If you hang around them, boy, they're bringing you down. So that's my advice.
By now, you might have some new sources of encouragement through friends, church, work, or resource groups. If you're a partner of the military member, you've likely adapted to the new role of depending on your own resources. You'll have a sense of independence and freedom, taking pride in your ability to cope. The military member may feel that their partner at home is coping so well that they won't be needed anymore. Don't be surprised, though, if you still have times when you feel mildly depressed or anxious. Make sure you continue to reassure each other. Keep sharing your feelings of self-confidence and positive growth. Stay involved and connected. Continue to maintain regular contact through email, phone calls, video teleconferencing. And don't be afraid to reach out if you're struggling. For couples, fear of infidelity is another topic that comes up in both deployment and reunion. What are the strategies that you can use to carry on a healthy relationship? Well, think of meaningful ways to stay connected to your partner. Read the same book or share photos, maybe send small packages to each other. A movie out with friends is a great way to fill that couple time. If there is something wrong already, a deployment isn't going to solve it. Remind yourself this is where the relationship is at, then seek out resources to help you before the deployment begins. It's a fun place to visit, huh? I don't think we want to live here, do we?
No, I guess not. But I'd like to have a cotton candy machine at home.
Oh, I think we all would. I don't think it's a good idea, though.
But,
No.
but,
No.
but,
Watch the movie. Children's feelings tend to follow a similar pattern to adults when it comes to a deployment. The main difference is they express it in a different way depending on their stage of development and their temperament.
I know that some people felt the need to talk to their parents a lot. My kids didn't. They were happy to do that, but weren't clamoring for the phone or anything like that. And many times I'd offer them the phone and say, "Oh, hi, Dad. Yep, gotta go, bye." So it was really short and sweet. I did noticed some acting out with Chaz, our 5-year-old, and we got him on a reinforcement program right away with the teachers at school so that he was concentrated.
I'd say the first 5 to 7 days is probably the worst part of the entire deployment, because for me, I'm already in okay, I'm doing it on my own. The kids aren't there yet, though, and it takes them that long to kind of get into their own routine again and over the grief of, Dad's away and how am I going to get in contact with them. And especially until they really set up and know how often they can phone or how often they can email, it's the kids especially find it a big grieving period. In past times, he's come home, and it absolutely doesn't work. Our routine gets disrupted. You spend another week after he leaves doing the same thing as the first week of his deployment. So no, the past 2 times we've met him in a 3rd location, and it's been fabulous because for the kids, you gear them up for about the month beforehand. Oh, we're going on this vacation, and what are you going to do? And doing research and history online and things like that. And then when you get to the 3rd location, everything's new to everybody, so everyone's on an even keel. And then when you leave to go home and him to go back on deployment, it's a little bit easier because it's not like you're leaving home and it's trying to do it all over again. I know not to phone every day or to email every day. I know it's harder on the kids. Having been the person who's on the non-deployment side, I know it's easier to have the kids talk to him like once a week instead of trying to get them to email every day or talk every day, because that way they don't go through the grieving process as often, and it's not getting off the phone and having the 30-40-minute meltdown because Dad's not here.
It's mostly easier as they're getting older, although there are some things that you really love to share, like what I would call my monthly walk of shame to talk to the teacher about one of our kids who's a little troublemaker, who you never come away from there feeling good, and it's better to split that one up,
Some young children will regress in age, like wanting a favorite blanket that they gave up months ago, or becoming clingy, or hitting rather than using their words. In elementary school, children's feelings may come out by testing the limits with you or withdrawing. Teenagers may be more focused on friends and resent having more responsibility. Contacting the child's caregiver, school, and their teachers to make them aware that their parent will be away is very important. You can make a plan with the children about how they'll stay in touch with their parent via email or video teleconference. Encourage them to keep the absent parent as a vital part of the family. Select favorite family photos or artwork to send with the departing parent. You could maybe create a calendar to keep track of the time that the parent's gone. Discuss with the kids why the military member is leaving. Talk to them about how to handle images or stories they may see on television or the internet. See if your children can connect with other children that are experiencing a deployment. Now, you may find yourself focusing on your children's reaction to every little thing. Take a step back and see if there is something that you need help with yourself.